Kevin here, sirs, with some gameplay of, well, more Call of Duty, because even though Battlefield Hardline did come out, as I said in my previous video, I am not such a huge fan of Battlefield Hardline, and that is why I do not own it at this time. In the future, maybe if, people are really liking it in a couple days or something like that, then I might pick it up. Or if you guys want me to really, post gameplay of it, like if you really want me to post gameplay of it, then I will. But for the fact being right now, I still love Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and it is still my main game that I'm playing right now, and that I will be playing for a while. I will definitely upload other gameplay videos, gameplay of other games in the, meantime somewhere in between. But for now, I really want to stick to Call of Duty Advanced Warfare as my main thing. That's just how my channel has been, for a while. If you guys have suggestions for what games you'd like me to play, let me know. As for now, I want to get back to the commentary. So, today's topic, it's not really tied to anything. Actually, this is about 4 months old, but I was thinking about this the other day, and I remembered it, and it really sounded like a good idea to say now. Just because of, especially with Battlefield Hardline being released, and some other games coming out, and basically this year being the year of FPS gaming, pretty much, as people, I guess, since then. I'll make another commentary about that later. But what I wanted to talk about is Call of Duty being the best franchise of all time. And it is so, like, when I first saw this, I'm like, nah, man, no, it's not the best franchise of all time. I'm sorry, dude, it's not. And I think I was a little bit skeptical on Call of Duty, just because I knew of how many people were not such a big fan of the game, or were disappointed with some recent games that came out in the franchise. Ghosts. That may not be the case for everyone, but I'm sure for a lot of the community, everyone, really did hate it. So I don't really see how that came out about it at first, but after some time of thinking about it, I really came to understand why this is true. And the reason being is because Call of Duty does everything right. And I know that sounds really shocking, and it is shocking. I would be, if someone told me at first that Call of Duty does everything right without me thinking about it, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about, man? You're stupid. But no, it really does. And here's what I want to tell you about it. The campaign. It has a campaign. It's fairly long nowadays. It's like 10 hours, I guess, if you play through it. It has a story. It has, characters and actors and all that stuff. And, of course, it has good... the gameplay is very linear. It's not that great. But it does have a campaign, and it does have that sense of, hey, you can actually play, a story-driven FPS game in Call of Duty. It has great co-op, usually for every time. I know Exo Survival isn't the best as what people, love it or something like that in terms of sort of co-op game modes. I think for me, Spec Ops, Modern Warfare 2, Spec Ops from Modern Warfare 2, and Black Ops 1 Zombies were the best co-ops of basically all Call of Duties. But co-op's always there, and it's always fun to play with some people. Of course, with Exo Zombies being released with the new DLC, that's also a big factor to co-op games. And people love playing co-op, especially if internet's down or something like that, or if someone's over and they just want to play co-op instead of multiplayer, and then that's a great mode to play. It is there, and a lot of other games don't have it. And finally, the big one, multiplayer. Now, a lot of people this is probably the most controversial one to say, because multiplayer is such a big thing for Call of Duty, and it really is what drives Call of Duty as the #1 game. And even though it does do that, it's very controversial in the gaming community, because you either love it or hate it, because what I think it does really well is it gives you a multiplayer game that you can play for a long time. That's very enjoyable and fast-paced and all. Instead, I think Battlefield, for me, is just not as enjoyable or as fun as Call of Duty is. Not even close to me whenever I play Battlefield. So that aspect is always there when I play Call of Duty, that I'm always like, oh, dude, even though I might be sucking right now, I'm actually having fun playing this game. That may not be true for every Call of Duty after some time, but it is definitely true at first. Like, you do have that sort of sense of enjoyment and fast-paced gameplay that is so good about multiplayer. The thing with multiplayer also is that you also have a ranking system that you always progress, that you always getting into this next game, and that you do get better with the game as you play more and more with the game. So that system is always very nice. The fact that there's a very mastery system of the game, that there is a definite skill gap in the game, is also a big factor, whereas some other games don't really have that kind of skill gap. So I think a lot of these factors sort of contribute to the point that people can keep coming back to Call of Duty Yes, it may be released every year, which may be bad for quality, but you know, it still means that you get that core gameplay experience in every single Call of Duty, and for me that's very important because that's what drives Call of Duty to me. As of why the other games are not, first of all, Battlefield, I think let's sort of name the top games that I would feel uh, would go into this category. So Legend of Zelda. Legend of Zelda, I think, is one of the best game series of all time, or at least what other people think. I'm not a huge fan of Legend of Zelda compared to other people, but I do enjoy their games. The thing I don't like about them is that they're very not linear, but you know, there's not a lot of room for like creativity in terms of like multiplayer or co-op gameplay. You know, it's all single player, so there's not a whole lot of new things you can do for that time. So that is definitely, you know, a no for me, because I want sort of a varied experience. In Zelda, you know, I can't play Zelda for like a long time. I can play for a little bit and be like, all right, let's play something else. So that's my thing about it. Pokemon was a big thing why people wanted to say, but I think the thing with Pokemon is a lot of their games really are similar. You know what I mean? Like Call of Duty at least has some other things about it. Like, yes, it does have a completely new story and stuff like that, and the gameplay does change from time to time. Although generally it is fairly similar, but you know, Pokemon, it's just I don't know. I feel like every game is almost very similar to the past one, and that's just me. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan, as you can tell. I'm a huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan, but that is not the same thing. So those are some of the things I feel like. And then of course Halo's up there. The thing with Halo is Halo's an Xbox exclusive, and some of the things that Halo is a very, you have to have the right mindset to play Halo, and you know that's like it doesn't really appeal to everyone like Call of Duty does. That's my thing about it. Assassin's Creed, I would say it gives Call of Duty a big run for its money. I know a lot of people don't think like I do in terms of that, but the thing with Assassin's Creed is it has a very like tied down experience, as in you love this series, or like you love this series because it's one of those like things like Star Wars or Batman or Superman or even Star Trek, I guess, or Spider-Man or whatever, that people just love these, you know, series and love this franchise so much that, you know, people love talking about Assassins and Templars, or, you know, if you're talking about the Star Wars universe, you might be talking about Jedi or something like that. So people love being tied to this universe because it does such a good job of having like a universe built within the game, and that's what I feel like really that this game does really well. Even though, you know, it's multiplayer, it's very nice, but a lot of people don't play too much, I'm assuming because they're not a huge fan of it. The co-op is also nice, but you know, even though it doesn't have the complete varied gameplay of Call of Duty, the fact that it is its own universe and that, you know, it is a very story-driven game and stuff like that, I really enjoy the Assassin's Creed series. So it's not up there, but you know, the couple factors in terms of variability and the fact that not everyone can play this game and just solely enjoy it, I think it is why it's not that great. And you know, those are some of the biggest things. I have to say, definitely there are a lot of other series, like I'm sure people are talking about, like, you know, BioShock and Uncharted and all. Those are all great games, but Call of Duty is one of those games that just everyone can play. And you hate it after playing it, you know what I mean? It's like if you play a game like BioShock or Uncharted or something like that, you really have to spend time with the game and understand the game and all. With Call of Duty, it's really a simple system that everyone can just hop in and play, and you know, everyone does have their unique play style within the game, whether they love playing single player, co-op, or multiplayer, or having this special style of multiplayer, or going all out GBs and rank play and all that stuff, or being really competitive, or just being really casual with the game. That's what I feel like Call of Duty to me, and to, yes, a lot of other people, it is the best franchise of all time, because it does do those things so well. And you know, of course, I'm not bashing on any other series when I'm saying Call of Duty is the best game of all time. And like I've said, in this series, other games are good. It's just they don't appeal to the market of being the best game, because to me the best game is not necessarily doing your job well, but it's doing your job well and appealing to everyone and being something that, you know, everyone can really participate in terms of video games. Because that's like, it's like watching movies. A bad movie is not necessarily a bad movie. It's just something that people generally don't like to see, and that's, you know, that can be said about a lot of things. Like I can't list the name off the top of my head, but you know, there are definitely good movies that not everyone enjoys. So that's sort of the art. That's like sort of the comparison I have here. That not everyone, you know, can relate to some other games that I'm talking about. But Call of Duty, everyone, you know, everyone knows about it. If you're in the video game industry, everyone, you know, has either played it or you know, has loves it or something like that. So that's what I feel like it does tie the community together. And definitely it is a series, not like other games like League or something like that, which are, you know, their own thing. So anyway, that's been my own commentary. I am so excited to hear you guys comment about this, because really I want to know what you guys think. I want to know, what are your favorite games? What do you like about games? What do you think defines a great game? Whether it be, you know, appealing to everyone or just doing its job well, or anything of that sort. If you do, please leave your comments in the comment section down below, because it does give me money. No, it doesn't. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe and check out my I'm not going to do the team on it, the outro again, but yeah, subscribe, because it eventually gives me money. I need the money. Thank you all for watching, and stay poppin', people.